Hey, how's it going? In today's video, we're talking about part 2 of the Boruto manga. I specifically wanted to talk about the title today, To Blue Vortex. What does it truly mean? And how does it tie into the themes of the series? And how does it relate to the characters themselves? This video will contain spoilers. You have been warned. With that being said, let's get started. So the title To Blue Vortex can be interpreted in several different ways, and in this video I will be talking about one of these possible interpretations. My specific interpretation comes from the Naruto one-shot manga, The World Within the Spiral, which was released last year, right before the release of chapter 1 of To Blue Vortex. This particular Naruto manga has more ties in with the current series of Boruto than one might initially think at face value, and the parallels are very apparent. Just the idea of Boruto working with Kashin Koji, a clone of Jiraiya, and being able to use the flying Raijin is one of those key parallels. Then there's the idea of Himawari possessing Kurama, similar to how Kushina had Kurama in the past. Himawari's hair is also grown out in a way that is very similar to Kushina's. But then there's one major tie-in to the Boruto series that I wanted to speak on, which is the core theme of this video. I wanted to specifically focus on a flashback scene within the one-shot manga, where Mito Uzumaki takes Naruto's mother, Kushina Uzumaki, into a particular area we as fans have never seen before in this franchise. Mito not only goes over the tragic fate of the Uzumaki clan, but then she also talks about the true meaning behind the clan symbol. So the Uzumaki's clan symbol represents a spiral. The spiral is a two-dimensional shape, remaining unchanged in its form, constantly moving in a never-ending rotation. The spiral is meant to parallel the many different characters we've seen in the franchise, as each character has strived for some form of change or revolution at some point in their lives, only to find themselves in a never-ending cycle of pain and struggle. Nagato, Obito, Madara, Sasuke are just a few examples of individuals who could represent these different spirals. According to Mito, the Uzumaki clan was also scattered and used as tools for war due to their large amounts of chakra and their unique sealing jutsu. She concludes that most of her clan remain spirals until they dwindle down to next to nothing. Mito then takes Kushina up to a helical staircase and describes the concept of the helix. A helix, unlike a spiral, is a three-dimensional object. While it may appear to be going in circles just like a spiral, over time, the helix changes and grows. A lot of characters in the franchise and even people in real life have found themselves in the category of spirals. But we grow and change every day. Our attitude slowly changes and we progress through life and we gain more wisdom and understand not only just ourselves but the world around us a little bit better. The lesson Mito was trying to teach Kushina is that of course we're going to go through struggle in life a little bit, but the true meaning of life is to take the form of a helix, ever changing and growing. But Mito also says that growing is not enough because once we mature, we need to fill our vessels with something. In Mito's case and Kushina's case later in the manga chapter, that is revealed to be one thing. The concept is love, and love can be categorized in many different forms. There's self-love, paternal love, romantic love, a love for an idea, raw passion for something, a dream, and so on. Love is the driving force for all the characters in the Naruto universe, and love can also be considered the ultimate element to prosperity in real life. Those who were once spirals and changed their mindsets from cynicism to gratitude and experienced true love for the first time have taken the form of a helix. When their mindsets changed, their realities changed as well, and they became more impactful on the world than they ever did when they were just mere spirals. The symbolism Mito uses also parallels the Rasengan perfectly, as the Rasengan is just a spiral of chakra that is constantly rotating, and once it expands and takes on a new form, it becomes something way more powerful. To Blue Vortex is a perfect title for this notion, and nearly every character in Boruto, whether an antagonist or protagonist, are like a spiral to some degree. Symbolically, these characters are trying to become like a helix by fulfilling some type of purpose or attempting to find their life's purpose. Each character has a layer of duality due to internal conflict. In some cases, it's due to the character being under omnipotence. In other cases, it may be due to the character not understanding simply who they are. And in other cases, it's simply to achieve a goal or a dream that seems accessible due to many obstacles in their way. A spiral and vortex are not too dissimilar from each other in terms of the premise, as they are constantly rotating without ever changing their form. The only true difference is that a vortex can have the potential to become a three-dimensional shape. Just like a spiral, the vortex is not an ideal form an individual should take because the path inside a vortex is not clear. And I think this is summed up perfectly with Boruto's interaction with Code in 2 Blue Vortex Chapter 3. In 2 Blue Vortex Chapter 3, Code was struck with Boruto's Rasengan Uzuhiko, a nature-based ninjutsu that relies on the Earth's rotation to manipulate the user and target's chakra. After the impact, Code's equilibrium was affected to a point where he couldn't stand up straight, and he had his chakra constantly spiraling inside of him because of the Earth's constant rotation. There was an interesting section of the fight that I don't see a lot of people talking about, and that's where we got to see Boruto through Code's point of view. What's interesting is that Boruto was in the center of a vortex. In my opinion, this is where Kishimoto and Ikimoto were trying to convey what the vortex in the title of the series was really supposed to mean. Let's look at Code's goal. His goal for the first few chapters has been going after Boruto because his truth is that Boruto is the one who was chosen as Ishiki's vessel over him, and that Boruto was also the one who stole Ada as a romantic love interest. Code is symbolically a vortex, and his jaded point of view was warped even further under omnipotence. And as Code once respected Boruto to some degree prior to reality getting rewritten by Ada because he was Momoshiki's vessel. And he definitely didn't have romantic feelings for Ada either until the attractive version of omnipotence was applied to him. But this vortex concept doesn't just apply to Code. The vortex is supposed to represent a jaded view of reality in general. 2 Blue Vortex is referring to everyone's views of reality post-omnipotence when it comes to Boruto and Kawaki, and how Boruto and Kawaki are shaping the views of these characters and affecting their actions. Many characters were affected indirectly or directly by omnipotence. There are 2 paths for the characters to follow once they learn that reality has been tampered with: the path of Boruto and the path of Kawaki. Do they trust an illusion of a person pretending to be who they are not? Or do they trust a stranger who seems to have a good heart and the right intentions, but history says that he represents the exact opposite of that? Each path is not clear, and each has its own benefits and consequences. Shikamaru knows this firsthand as he is currently playing both sides, and I suspect Team 10 will soon learn this as well. Sarada and Sumire see past the vortex, and while Amato is likely not immune, it's hard to deceive a deceiver. He knows what's going on. Mitsuki is a primary example of someone who was affected deeply by omnipotence and is a vortex-based character. Mitsuki cared for Boruto as a friend and as a guide to be a better person, only for reality to switch that idea to Kawaki being that person. Someone who never treated him right and took him for granted, which caused Mitsuki to question Kawaki and still remain in hatred for Boruto. Mitsuki had no idea of where he should go and navigate in this new world. He would then encounter Boruto, who, while being a stranger to him, gave him a sense of hope that he could find his own light someday, symbolically allowing Mitsuki to become a helix. Ada is the same way. While she is responsible for transforming people metaphorically into vortex-based characters, she herself is a vortex. She doesn't know true love but desires it. Kawaki, just like how he treats Mitsuki, also takes her for granted, which she has ignored because she likes him. But now she finds curiosity in seeing Boruto as the key to finding her answer to the idea of love that she is looking for. Then there's the Shinju. While they weren't affected by omnipotence, they wouldn't exist in their current forms without the Shinjutsu being casted, as events would have played out much differently in the series. They too are vortex-based characters. Despite their high intelligence and great power, they don't know who they truly are or what they truly want. So we saw how the title applied to the different side characters, but how does it apply to Boruto and Kawaki directly? While Boruto has a level head and has improved a lot as a person and as a shinobi, he too is a vortex-based character, just for different reasons though. Boruto has to face two uncertain realities. One, can he live up to Sasuke's example and become the Shadow Hokage he needs to and save the people who don't trust him and outright despise him? And two, can he prove Kawaki wrong by overcoming the threat of Momoshiki? And of course, Kawaki is a vortex-based character as well. He's just arrogant enough to believe he's not. As much as he hates Boruto and Code, he is actually a combination of both characters. Kawaki and Code have very similar upbringings and similar mindsets on training. They are not shinobi, they are quick to anger, and they feel as though if they are already the best, they don't need to train. And they both underestimated Boruto and got humiliated. Kawaki also has similarities to Boruto. They were both a part of the Uzumaki household. If you want to count the anime, they were both Leaf Genin on Team 7. They both respect and inspire to be like Naruto, just for different reasons. And they both want to protect the village, also for different reasons. I think the final panel of Chapter 1 of Blue Vortex sums this up perfectly. Both Code and Boruto have scars on their left and right eyes respectively, and Kawaki has no scars. Kawaki having both of his eyes, while the other two Karma users have opposite eyes of each other, in my opinion, symbolizes Kawaki walking down either one of those paths. He has the potential to become a hero like Boruto or a menace like Code. So the question is now, are you a spiral, a vortex, or a helix? And I wonder what the Boruto characters will become as well.